Okay, so picking up where we left off, we started talking about leaky gut syndrome and how ProBio is so effective in rebalancing or allowing the body to rebalance itself. Whenever we talk about candida, and it always in every single conversation, whenever we talk about candida, it's important that we ask if they know what it is. Do you know candida, or have you heard of candida? Usually the answer is no, or hopefully what we like to hear is yes, I've seen it on your posts. Say great, I'm really excited to tell you about it, because that's the number one thing that causes the symptoms that you're experiencing. Always relating it back to your customers, your family members, your friends, their concerns. Speaking to their concerns will always drive home a personal explanation. And candida is a really good place to start, because most people do suffer from some sort of overgrowth. So do you know what candida is? Yes or no? We'll assume that the person's going to say no. Really, the conversation that you're having, like I said, should start with candida and how difficult just by eating correctly is going to fix it. It's very hard. Unless your diet is 100% sugar-free, dye-free, you're not taking any pharmaceuticals that includes birth control. You're not stressed, you're sleeping the right amount, you're drinking enough water, you're growing your own food, including raising your own protein sources. It's almost impossible to live a completely clean lifestyle. And that's all what contributes to candida's overgrowth, is flourishing on alcohol, sugar, sugary foods with dyes, all of these different things, pesticides, pharmaceuticals. When it overgrows, it drills holes into your intestines, and that's what causes things like leaky gut. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Unfiltered toxins going right into your bloodstream. It causes things like migraines, bloating, irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea, constipation, unexplained weight gain or loss, inability to fall asleep or stay asleep or feel rested, lack of energy, all of these different things. So many times we hear our friends publicly complain about and or taking pharmaceuticals for. That's what candida causes. That's what leaky gut causes, you guys. And the reason why it's so stubborn, the reason why it's so difficult, and the reason why we need help getting rid of it, and why diet alone is very difficult to rebalance, is because of something called chitin or chitin. I can never remember how to pronounce it, but it's spelled CHITN. And it's what makes up the outer shell of a cockroach, and also like a shrimp's shell. So it's pretty hard to permeate, right? We need something to help dissolve that. And Plexus ProBio 5 has exactly that. It has an enzyme called, and I'm going to butcher this, chitosanase, CHITOSINASE. Do with what you will with my pronunciation. I know it's wrong. I'm so sorry, but it's an enzyme anyway, that dissolves the outer shell of the fungus. So it exposes the actual fungal material, and that chitosanase, however you pronounce it, it goes in and dissolves the actual fungus too. So when that fungus starts to die off, your body is given a fighting chance to repair itself. Once that fungus is, under control, your body will start to close up and start to heal those holes. And so those toxins won't be allowed to filter into your bloodstream. That's why Plexus is so cool, you guys. That's why everybody needs to know about this candida issue, why it's so unique, why ProBio 5 is so unique, because no other single probiotic has five gut-friendly strains of bacteria, and no one also has the combination of the things that we need that ProBio has. So the 5 strains of bacteria, it has the enzyme to break it down. It also has B6 or vitamin B6, also grapeseed oil, all amazing antioxidants for your body to help with immunity, inflammation. And then we touched on pink drink, which is what helps with blood sugar regulation, right? The next thing that we really want to talk about is BioCleanse. And it's kind of a catch-all. It's not something that gets talked about very frequently, but I think that we need to start learning more about it so that we can talk more efficiently and more to the benefits of BioCleanse. It doesn't really get a lot of attention because I think people are just afraid of it. They're afraid of the word cleanse. Let's be real. They're afraid that they're going to be running to the bathroom every 5 seconds. That's totally not the case. Its number one ingredient is magnesium. And most of the time, that's what people are deficient in. That's why you're constipated. That's why you have diarrhea or troubles with digestion. We'll see some symptoms. This is also some of the things that you'll hear people complain about, some of the symptoms that they'll complain about. Muscle aches and spasms, okay? Poor digestion, anxiety. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. There's a lot. Trouble sleeping. Those 4 right there, I dealt with before Plexus, and I'm sure you guys did too. Behavioral disorders, nutrient deficiencies, headaches, kidney, liver, and damage and failure, osteoporosis. Women deal with PMS, recurrent bacterial and fungal infections. You guys, how many of your kids, how many of your friends' kids deal with immunity issues? That's huge. They're little sponges, we get it, but how many of you guys want to be able to help your friends' kids and also your own kids with their immunity function, to boost that immunity function so that they don't find themselves sick all the time? And why do these things happen? Why are we sick all the time? Why do we deal with lack of immunity? It's to deal with, the gut health that we just touched on about ProBio 5, but also because magnesium is so essential with 300 different biochemical functions, like regulating heartbeat rhythms and helping neurotransmitter function. Those 2 things are a ton of what keeps us alive. Obviously, if your heartbeat isn't regular, you're going to deal with issues there, and you're also going to deal with, when your neurotransmitters, I'm all worked up, I'm so excited. When your neurotransmitters are not firing correctly, that's when you deal with things like anxiety or mood disorders or, just that group of things. It's hugely important that all of these trace minerals and nutrients are in your bloodstream and in your body for proper function. Like the baseline of why you are alive and function properly as a human being is because you have these trace minerals and nutrients in your body. So the things like we talked about, muscle aches and spasms, heartbeat, neurotransmitter, proper neurotransmitter function, those things are all go back to magnesium intake, which I think I saw 80% of people are actually deficient in magnesium. And that's what BioCleanse has. That's its number one ingredient, along with ascorbic acid. So we know, well, maybe we don't know, but ascorbic acid topically and internally is amazing for immunity. That's vitamin C. And to speak to your vein customers, all of us are, so I'm not talking down to anybody, but for those of us concerned with vanity, we all want to look young for longer, right? Vitamin C works intrinsically inside of us and extrinsically. So it helps, and that's external. It works inside and outside. Synergistically, it works both ways to keep your skin looking younger longer. It's our largest organ, and it is our biggest line of defense against disease and bacteria and fungus and all of those things. And so keeping it healthy, keeping your collagen strong is very important, and that's what ascorbic acid helps with. Why are we magnesium deficient? Because our soil and our food are so different than they were 10, 20 years ago, let alone a century ago, when we didn't use all these pesticides and chemicals and everything that's in our soil to break down how our body absorbs the minerals and absorbs the nutrients. It's made so it's almost vanilla, so we don't get as much of those nutrients and minerals as we need to function. We also, obviously, diet is a huge thing. Our food quality and our food sources, huge too. Knowing exactly what's in your food as far as processed foods and dyes and sugars added, and the different kinds of sugars, like sucralose is hugely, it's just disappointing that it even exists, but it's a chemical sweetener essentially. And it's really what goes back to messing up how our gut functions properly, and also how your blood sugar is regulated, and inflammation. It just affects everything. It's this big snowball. Also, high rates of prescription meds and antibiotics really breaks down the way our body functions. Magnesium is broken down by those prescriptions and the antibiotics that I just mentioned. So by replacing with proper supplementation, obviously by paying attention to your food sources, you guys, is hugely important too, because if we don't, the issues are going to, just exacerbate and get worse and worse, and again, just snowball. The last thing I want to talk about with BioCleanse is bioflavonoids. It's a citric acid compound that is anti-inflammatory, anti-allergic, and antimicrobial. All going back to the things that we were talking about that support magnesium's efficacy. Anti-inflammatory, obviously, that's things like migraines and headaches and rheumatoid arthritis and joint pain, back pain, just how your muscles and or your musculature functions day in and day out. That's anti-inflammatory. That's what the bioflavonoids and citric acid, that's what it helps with. Also anti-allergic, self-explanatory. You guys, we're seeing the highest rate of allergies ever. And it's, again, all due to food source and food quality. And lastly, antimicrobial. That's what makes us sick. That's what's able to have us fight off disease and infection. BioCleanse, so important, right? It also oxygenates our body, so we feel this all over energy, and it also helps support weight loss. One of the big things that you can kind of loop in with your customers after you've talked about Candida and how it affects your body is that BioCleanse really helps to go in and sweep all of that dead stuff out, all of the toxins that it's now released into your body. When the fungus is killed off, it releases toxic substances sometimes into your body, and your customers and your friends' family might experience something called die-off. And BioCleanse just helps sweep all of that out, so it's a non-issue. Water is hugely important there too, just to rid your body of all the toxins like I previously mentioned. Half the body weight in water is what we recommend for you to stay healthy, hydrated, and to support your Plexus results. Thanks again for tuning in. I look forward to doing these weekly. I'm going to shoot for Monday around this time, 4 o'clock. So tune in if you can. If not, I will record and post to YouTube. Okay, have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you soon.